everybody. Thank you for tuning into the PG Show, where we talk about all things college football. Today, I got a chance to sit down with Davion Woolen, who was a part of this 2022 class for the University of Oklahoma, and it's a great one. So go ahead, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you guys are excited to see from Davion Woolen. But let's go ahead and let's get into it. Hey, Davion, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Oh, that sounds good. And are you guys surviving this heat?
Yeah, we're somehow surviving, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Hey, well, thank you for jumping on today. I really appreciate it. And we got a lot of Sooner fans that actually watch the show, and they love these kind of interviews. So I'm sure they're going to love to get to just know you and learn a little bit more about you. But on that note, I just go ahead and tell us a little bit more about yourself, right? Where'd you grow up? A little bit about your family. What's your favorite song? Your, favorite music, your artist.
Yeah. One thing I like, a lot of people call me Davion, but it's really Davion. I always have to correct people all the time. It's all good. But yeah, I grew up in Frisco, Texas, which is like maybe 20 minutes from outside of Dallas. I got my mom, my dad, and my younger brother Donovan. I live in the same house. I went to Wakeland High School in Frisco, which there's like 12 high schools in Frisco, so it's pretty crazy out there. My favorite artist, I would say, is Youngboy. My favorite song by him is probably either 50 Shots or Bad Morning, one of those two. Those are probably my favorite ones. And I started playing football when I was like 5 years old, and I just loved it ever since. So it's a little about me.
Yeah. So give us a little bit more insight to just, who you are and like, what are your favorite hobbies outside of football, right? I grew up with a friend and his dad was a basketball coach. So I got to, hang around the locker rooms, and those guys never wanted to talk about basketball outside of the basketball court. So what kind of hobbies do you guys have outside of football?
My hobbies probably either like hanging out with friends or like watching Netflix or playing Xbox. It's probably my 3 hobbies that I have outside of sports and working out.
What do you like to play on the Xbox?
Madden, 2K, Fortnite. About the only 3 games I play.
So
pretty much.
You could beat me in Madden or 2K?
I'll destroy you in Madden, I promise you.
You probably could. I'm not that good at it. I picked up Madden for the first time this year because I used to play NCAA on the GameCube back when. That tells you how long it's been. And I picked up Madden for the first time, and my buddy that comes over, he just kills me every time in it. So the only time that I can beat him or have a close or chance at beating him is when I get a mobile quarterback. But you got to switch it up every once in a while. So, So, if you could have lunch with any, like, one person, famous, or not famous, whoever, who would that one person be and why?
Probably LeBron James, just because, I don't know. I feel like he gave me, like, pretty good life advice, like, how to deal with, like, a lot of pressure from, like, a young age. Because he came into the league, like, basically, like, all the like expecting to either be one of the greatest players of all time or like his career was a failure. I feel like he gave me good advice on how to like handle that pressure and like how to act as like a professional and like as an athlete.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I think a lot of people look up to LeBron. Definitely a lot of kids. Now the question is, do you think LeBron's the greatest player of all time?
Yeah. I do.
You do? You think LeBron's better than Michael Jordan?
Yes, he is. I stand by that.
All right.
I can argue. All
right. Well, there you go, folks. There's your heart. Yeah. Well, there you go. There's your hot take. LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. I still think Michael Jordan's better, just because. 6 times out of 6 times, 3 in a row, 2 times. I think that's kind of hard to beat. But I mean, LeBron did go to what was it, like 10 straight finals?
Yeah, that's unheard of. Like nobody's ever gonna. I don't think anyone's ever gonna do that ever again.
Yeah, no, he definitely is a different animal. He's pretty big. He's pretty big. I don't know if you've ever like seen him, but he's huge,
Yeah,
massive.
he's a pretty big human.
Yeah. So, hey, next one I got up before we dive into a little bit of the recruiting is, what is your biggest motivation, right? So this is different for a lot of people, but whether it's on the football field or off the football field, what is your biggest motivation? What is your driving force to just go out there and do what you do?
My biggest driving force is probably myself. Like I want to like be the best possible self I can, or the best possible me that I can be. And I feel like not giving my 110%, like in anything I do, I'm letting myself down and letting my family down. So that kind of is my driving force and what pushes me to be the best I can be.
Okay. Well, let's dive into a little bit of your recruiting real quick, because I know this one is always interesting to a lot of people. But, kind of tell us a little bit about who recruited you, the schools and who, the coaches at those schools. Did you have like a top 3 or top 4, or just when you got that offer from that school, was that it?
Yeah, so I had like offered from, I was Army, Air Force, Utah, Illinois State, Bucknell, OU were recruiting me. And at first, I was originally committed to Army West Point for like a month or two. And then I got in contact with Coach Gundy, and I started talking with him. And also Utah kind of hit me up at that same exact time. So I was talking to both at the same time. I had more of a favoring towards OU, so I decided to finally make the commitment to OU. Come here.
Yeah, so Army is an interesting one because, they're an interesting school. They're not kind of like some of the other D1 schools. What led you to originally commit to Army, and how did that happen? Because, I mean, I might be wrong, but isn't the recruitment process for Army a little differently? Don't you have to meet certain different academic standards?
Yeah.
Than if it would for OU?
It's a little different. Like you have to, obviously, like they're held at a higher standard than probably most colleges around the country. Like you have to also take you have to pass a physical, like, which is it's not like a normal physical. Like you have to can't like have certain things like in your ear or something like that. It's really weird. You have to do like a athletic test, but I'm an athlete, so that wasn't really a big deal for me. But yeah, it's a little weird, and it's not like too different, but there's a little bit of a difference between the two.
Yeah, see, I've always imagined the Army practices being like boot camp, which I feel like would be absolute hell. But then again, I'm sure Smitty is set up worse than a boot camp. So
you can definitely compare those two together. I can see that.
Yeah. So what's been some of your immediate impressions about being on campus at OU and the practices and the coaches?
I'm liking everybody here. I feel like embrace me with like welcoming arms. Like they're cool dudes. Like I hang out with them. Like I've made a lot of good friends here already. Like we've always we'll all hang out, like have a good time and all that. So I feel like it's been a good impression on me. Like the campus is beautiful. Like the classes I'm taking right now, I'm enjoying it, which is a shocker. Like I'm not really a big school guy in my opinion, but I'm actually enjoying the class, so I'm liking it so far. Coaches, good coaches, you can tell they know what they're talking about. Like they're real with you too. Like they will keep it 100, and yeah, that's like I said. They're real with you, and that's like a big thing to me is like being real with me. Like I don't want to hear like all this fake stuff and all that. No, I just want you to keep it like straight up with me. That's what they give.
Yeah, so it seems like that's been kind of a trend of what we're hearing from just not only the players that are currently there, but the recruits, is that the coaching staff is genuine. What has that been like for you, just as like a learning aspect, and I would say more of like a mentorship with some of these coaches, trying to just prepare you guys for life and to be leaders, not only on the field but off the field.
Repeat that.
Yeah. So, what is it? He said, what has it been like to, just have them as mentors, right? To prepare you guys for leaders, not only on the field, but to be off the field as well. Because, like I said, that's been something that we've heard from the recruits and from players that are, there currently, is that, they're a great, genuine group of guys, and, they're more worried about your success off the field and more worried about your growth as a person. Number one, and then number two would be your growth and development on the field. So, like, how does that impact you, and like, how does that drive you at all?
Yeah, they are on top of you about like schoolwork and all that. So like, they obviously like want you to get like, which is the most important thing in college, is getting that diploma. Like, that's their top goal for you. Like, obviously, they want you to be a great football player, but they want you to be like a great student, great person, great father one day, great husband one day. Like, that drives them, and everything they do, like, it's like pretty much like life lessons that like pushes you towards that goal one day.
No, yeah, that's definitely good. I think that's something that we definitely need a lot more in the world nowadays, and so it's good that they are doing that with you guys now, and creating that impact. So, what do you feel like is a way that you're going to grow at OU, and then how are you prepared to deal with the competition in that wide receiver room? Because we know that wide receiver room is pretty deep, especially with a lot of the incoming talent as well.
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking to compete. Like, obviously, like, they're my teammates, those are my guys, but like, I'm also here to like get on the field as fast as I possibly can. So I'm always gonna like push myself my hardest, like, and grind out, and we'll see what God takes me. Like, that's pretty much all I can say.
Yeah. So how do you feel like you're going to grow here at the University of Oklahoma, on and off the field?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely grow by like, obviously, like you talking about on the football field and off it. Is that what you said?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, on the field, I could see myself like sharpening my like routes, getting like perfecting the playbook. I could, like, and becoming like more like intelligent on the field, and become that all around, make me a better football player, like all better all around. So, and off the field, I could see probably I don't know, being a better person. I feel like it'll mold me and be a better person, like all around. Like, there's obviously like growth I need, and I feel like I'll be able to get that here.
Yeah. So you said you kind of are liking the classes that you have. Have you picked out maybe a degree that you want to try to go for while you're there? Or are you still trying to figure that out?
Yeah, I'm on to major in finance.
What's the backstory on finance? What are you wanting to go do? Do you know yet?
That I'm kind of not 100% sure yet, but I know a finance degree that can open up a lot of doors, and also, honestly, I know it can like get rich off. Like, there's a lot of well-paying jobs that a finance degree can get, so that's mainly what I'm doing. But I haven't really leveled out exactly what I want to do with that finance degree.
Hey, well, you know what? You got some time to figure that out, but it's good that you're thinking ahead of time about how to go and secure that bag, and preparing yourself. So that's really important. So I always like to ask this question. This is probably my favorite question, but with NIL now being relevant, now being allowed, because let's be honest, it's always been a thing. It's always been under the table, and now it's
Yeah.
out in the public. one, how does that entice you to stay in college longer, and maybe to even develop?
Yeah, it definitely is like, obviously, like, if you're not like a guaranteed like first round draft pick, like being like a top stud at your school, I feel like being able to get paid for that, it's like a really good benefit and wanting to stay in school instead of going to leagues like where you might get drafted in like the fifth round and not make as much money. While otherwise, like you could stay on campus, like get a good NIL deal, get paid a lot. I feel like that can entice you to like want to stay like an extra year or two at your university.
Yeah. So I don't know how long you've been in Norman, but if you could have an NIL deal with any food restaurant on campus, where would it be?
Probably Pickleman's, I'd say. That's I've tried there a few times. It's pretty good. I feel like that'd be a pretty cool place to get an NIL deal from.
What's your favorite thing to get there?
Probably the meatball like sub. That's usually what I get when I go there. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds good. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever had a meatball sub from anywhere.
Oh, that's like my go-to
Anywhere.
sandwich. Like any sandwich place I go to, like Firehouse, I get that. Subway, I get that. I don't know, it's something I like.
Yeah, well, hey, Picklemans, if anybody from there watches this, you need to hit Davion
Yeah,
up.
Davion,
Davion
yeah.
up,
Hit me
right?
up. Hey,
Did
hit
I
me
get it
up.
right that time?
You got it right. Yeah,
Yeah, y'all
Davion
need to
Woolen.
hit Davion up.
Hit me up.
Yeah, yeah, y'all need to hit him up. Give him his own sandwich. Give him his own sandwich. So,
That would be dope.
um, yeah, that would be awesome. Hey, maybe if you have just that big play against OU Texas or OU OSU, right? That cements your legacy, especially in Norman.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
back
they'll
on
be
campus, you probably get to see me.
maybe that'll get their attention.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, speaking on that note with Texas and OSU, what is one team that you're probably most excited to play this season?
100% Texas. Like I've been to the OU Texas game. That game is crazy. Like, and also I have a few of my boys that play at UT, and I kind of looking forward to play against them too. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about all this stuff with UT going on right now and the Arch thing? I don't know if you've seen the news with Arch coming out where, some of these guys that go out there and analyze these players are like, oh yeah, if he had a different last name, he would be a 3-star. And, they've got that wide receiver that said something about all the swimming trophies and is out there starting some beef out there with, Jacquizz Petaway. Like, what do you think of all this? Like, is it just fun, or like does this like go out there and make you guys like want to drive you to go out there and beat them even harder, because it's like, hey, like they're trying to steal the spotlight. No use beat them. I think it's 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row, something like that.
Something like that. Honestly, none of that really phases me, to be honest with you. There's another opponent to me. Like I just want to play them. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I bet it's going to be 100% different experience when you're on the field and you're to Dylan Gabriel's left or right, and you've got all those Texas fans behind you screaming and yelling at you, and you're driving to a quiet end zone and vice versa. I've heard it's completely different when you're on the field and you've got, because I've heard like you can go from quiet to extremely loud just going down the field, or vice versa. So,
but it's a really cool experience.
Well, hey, last couple of questions. Yeah. Well, hey, last couple of questions I got for you. Who's your favorite college football player?
Probably Justin Jefferson's probably my favorite college football player. Watching him at LSU was dope. Like he always put on the show. Either him or Joe Burrow. Like that was one of my watching them that one year at LSU was crazy. Like that was like must see TV.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that's probably who you want to model a lot of your game after, right?
Mm-hmm.
Justin Jefferson?
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Hey, well, then maybe that means you'll be a top first-round pick or something then.
Hey, that would be dope.
Model your game after him. So, well, hey, you know, what is your opinion on this conference movement in college football, right? So it sounds like you're probably going to be here for the OU shift to the SEC,
Mm-hmm.
but just the Big 12 and the Pac 12. It seems like there's so much conference realignment going on. Seems like we're going to 2 or 3 big super conferences. You know, do you have a take on that at all? Does that impact you and the team at all, or just kind of give us a little bit of insight on that if you've got any?
Well, according to everybody, SEC is the best of the best, and I always want to play against the best of the best. So I'm really looking forward to that move.
Yeah. Hey, it's going to get loud and crazy. That's one of the
Mm-hmm.
challenges that I know BB is going to put out to the fans. But some of us podcasters out there are going to put out to the fans too. Is making sure that they're a little bit more prepared and rowdy. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the baseball College World Series, but those Ole Miss fans were nuts.
Oh
So
yeah,
when we go
I
to the
mean,
SEC, it's gonna get crazy.
mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I'm looking
well,
forward to
hey,
that.
before we jump off today, I want you to tell Sooner, just I'm going to give you a couple seconds to talk to the Sooner fans, tell them something that maybe we didn't talk about, get them pumped up and excited for this season. I think we're a little over a month away, so.
I'm really liking what's going on that we have going on. Like the team spirit's looking great. Like all of us are brothers. We each got all of each other's backs. It's just, of course, I've heard from all the upperclassmen, it's like a totally different environment than it was like last year and the year before that. Like everybody now like wants to be there, wants to work. Like I feel like we have a I feel like we're gonna push for a natty this year. That's just me though. I really feel like it's gonna happen this year.